The Battle of Busan of 1592, or the Battle of Busanpo, was a naval engagement that took place on 1 September 1592 during the first phase of the Japanese invasions of Korea. It was a Korean surprise attack on the fleet of Toyotomi Hideyoshi stationed at Busan. In this battle, Japanese forces lost 100 ships while no Korean ships were lost. Officer Woon and 6 Korean soldiers died while countless Japanese soldiers were killed by arrows. However, ultimately, the Korean fleet retreated from Busan. After the battle, the Japanese continued to control Busan. In a primary historical source, Annals of the Joseon Dynasty, it is recorded as the Korean Navy failed to defeat Japanese at Busan. However, in other primary historical sources, like Joseon's official compendium written by the bureaucrats of the Korean government, and the war diary of Yi Sun-sin and his military reports, it is recorded as the Korean Navy decisively defeating the Japanese Navy. Modern Western historians also summarized the battle as a Korean deceive victory. A book published by the Japanese Governor-General of Korea during Empire of Japan era summarized this battle as a Korean deceive victory. Some Korean historians believe the war diary of Yi Sun-sin more than Annals of the Joseon Dynasty when they study Imjin War because he is the on-scene commander. After this battle, the Korean government promoted Yi to Samdu Sugun Tongjesa, literally, naval commander of the three provinces, which was the title for the commander of the Korean Navy until 1896. Background: the Japanese needed to secure war supply routes. The alternate plan was to advance troops and supplies by roads, but this route was disturbed by the Uibyong. Many Korean civilians and Buddhist monks formed a voluntary army and attacked Japanese troops. Formation of United Joseon Fleet. After the Battle of Hansan Island, in which Commander Yi Sun-sin's navy won against the Japanese Navy around mid-July, they remained silent for nearly a month. During that time in Busan, there were 8,000 soldiers and 430 vessels protecting the coast. Commander Yi, however, sent spy ships to Busan port and found out there were about 470 warships there. Commander Yi believed that the Japanese were retreating to their country. Sejong-sang Province Governor Kim Soo requested that Commander Yi block the sea route. Therefore, Commander Yi with commanders Won Jian and Yi Eokaki united the fleets, for a total of 166 vessels. On the way to Busan, Commander Yi defeated 24 Japanese ships at Sapyeongpo, at the Battle of Da-Da-Jin, and at Jeolleung-do. The combined Joseon fleet defeated the Japanese Navy repeatedly, largely as a result of the well-trained sailors and the Joseon ships' medium and long-range cannons. Battle of Busanpo. Off the coast of Busan, the United Joseon Fleet realized that the Japanese Navy had readied the ships for battle and the Japanese army had stationed themselves around the shoreline. The United Joseon Fleet assembled in the Jangsejin or Long Snake formation, with many ships advancing in a line, and attacked straight into the Japanese fleet. Overwhelmed by the Joseon Fleet, the Japanese Navy abandoned their ships and fled to the coast where their army was stationed. The Japanese army and navy joined their forces and attacked the Joseon Fleet from the nearby hills in desperation. The Joseon Fleet shot arrows from the ships to defend and restrict their attacks, and in the meantime concentrated the cannon fire on destroying Japanese vessels. Joseon's navy had destroyed fully a quarter of the Japanese fleet at a cost of just 5 men killed, 25 wounded, and no ships lost. However, ultimately, the Korean fleet retreated from Busan. Comparisons. In terms of size, the Joseon ships were one-third that of Japanese ships. Although Commander Yi destroyed over 100 ships, he did not order his soldiers to pursue the Japanese on shore, probably because he recognized that close hand-to-hand combat skills of the Joseon were significantly weaker than those of the samurai. In addition, the Joseon soldiers were exhausted from long sea travel and battle, and would have been heavily outnumbered on land. Up to that point, Commander Yi had not fought with numbers of soldiers, but rather with ships and cannons. Yi reinforced disadvantages in number of soldiers with heavy use of firearms. The Japanese also had a well-trained cavalry, which was another aspect the Joseon army lacked. In this battle, however, Yi lost one of his cherished officers by the name of Woon. Impact. After this battle, the Joseon naval activity substantially subsided. Before then, there were 9 naval battles during the 3 months since May 1592, which were led by Yi, but the next naval battle took place 6 months later in February 1593. The Japanese forces succeeded to protect the position in Busan Bay. After this battle, the Joseon government promoted Yi to Samdu Sugun Tongjesa, literally meaning naval commander of the 3 provinces, which was the title for the commander of the Joseon Navy until 1896. It had extinguished any lingering hopes the Japanese may have had of somehow gaining access to the Yellow Sea and ferrying reinforcements to their commands in Pyongyang. From this point onward, the prospect of amassing an army in the north large enough to march on Beijing was well and truly dead. Differences of action's significance. In Japan, with referencing the official history of the Joseon, it is found that the result was strategic victory of Japan. The annals of the Joseon dynasty, which is one the official history record, summarized this battle as a strategic failure. This can be translated as follows. Yi Sun-shin and his fleet attacked Busan where the enemy forces stationed, but failed to defeat them. Since Japanese soldiers were often defeated in sea fights, they gathered in the fortress in Busan and Dongne, which guarded the naval ships. Yi Sun-shin and Won Jian attacked the Busan Bay in vast numbers of ships, but the Japanese soldiers did not fight, and climbed a high position and shot an arquebus. Thus Joseon Marines were unable to land. Then, after burning 400 empty ships, Yi's fleet retreated. Woon was shot and died during the hard fighting, and Yi Sun deeply regret the loss. British historian, American historian, Koreans and Yi Sun-shin, who was on-scene commander, claimed that the Joseon Navy won this battle because none of the Joseon's ships were lost, while the Japanese naval forces lost 100 ships of 400 ENPTY ships with, referencing Joseon's official compendium, which was published by King Zhenho, Nanjung Ilgi, which is the personal diary of Yi Sun-shin, and the military report which was sent by Yi Sun-shin to the government. Also, the Joseon government promoted Yi to Samdu Sugun Tongjesa, literally meaning naval commander of the 3 provinces. After this battle, the Nanjung Ilgi, which is the diary of Yi Sun-shin, summarized this battle as a deceived victory. There were 470 Japanese naval ships. They were frightened by us so that they did not come out from the port. We bombarded the port all day. We destroyed 100 ships and there were Japanese soldiers who were killed by our arrows. Even the military report, which was sent by Yi Sun-shin to the government and published by the Japanese Governor-General of Korea in modern times, also summarized this battle as a deceived victory. 470-470-100. This can be translated as follows. During 4th campaign, we fought 10 times and won all the battles. Our soldiers distinguished themselves on the field of this battle. There were less than 70 Japanese naval ships in the previous battles. However, in this battle, we charged toward the 470 Japanese naval ships with a triumphant note, and we had been destroying 100 naval ships all days without fear. The Japanese soldiers shook with fear. We did not lop off the heads of enemies, but the military merits of this battle are much more great than before. So I recorded the military merits of each soldiers in the accompanying document. James B. Lewis, who is the university lecturer at the University of Oxford, described the battle like this. It is important in the history of Joseon's naval warfare, since it was the only sea battle out of the 10 fought during the year, in which Joseon attacked their Japanese naval base with relatively inferior firepower. In spite of the loss of Woon, one of Yi's staff who was shot during the battle, he achieved an enormous victory in sinking over 100 ships in this one battle alone. As winter crept in, the two parties found naval operations impossible and rode at anchor for the duration of the season. Samuel Hawley, who is an American historian trained at Queen's University, earning BA and MA degrees, described the battle like this. The Korean Navy's attack on Busan had been astonishingly successful. It had destroyed fully a quarter of the Japanese fleet at a cost of just 5 men killed, 25 wounded, and no ships lost.